Yeah. They took my internet. They didn't just shut me off. They took my internet. And I ain't had no internet problems. Now all of a sudden, I got internet problems. But I got hotspot. So let's see how long the hotspot lasts. You know that's limited. But I'm back. Aquarius Rambling Rant. I'm back. Bitches. Didn't make it. Wasn't trying to make it. I don't even know what I was talking about. But I continue on. So we know the consciously dead generation has been socially engineered to be unproductive, period, as well as self-destructive. Everything that we're experiencing relative to the younger generation, the Pluto and Scorpio generation, prior to the Z generation, the millennials, all has to do with social engineering. And it's for a purpose, is what I was trying to get to. It's for a purpose. Understand that there again, let's go back and talk about that we have physicality and we have mentalism, or the mental world. So we talked about physicality and all that it consists of, and we got to talk about the mental world, the mental, because that's where we're moving to. That's where the transhumanism comes in. It is the snatching humanity out of physicality and putting us 99% into the mental world and then regulating it. Now, don't get it wrong. The powers still will be occupying the physical world. They want to dominate the world. There is some real things going on in our reality that we are not digesting, comprehending, understanding, whatever terminology you want to use. The powers dominating your mind, your consciousness, and your subconsciousness in a virtual world or in a mental world, whilst also dominating, or what's the word? Not dominating. They'll dominate physicality. What does it mean to dominate physicality? Because they still over there occupying it. That says then humans have thrown their hands up to everything in physicality. That includes, and what's most important, are the natural resources in this mother effing world. What don't you understand? Everything. They will rule and regulate all of the food. They will rule and regulate who? The powers. Those billionaires, those trillionaires of the world. And mind you, because we're dealing interdimensionally as well. Now, don't get it mixed up, because I know we like to get things mixed up. We seem not to be able to comprehend the different aspects that's taking place at the same time. Physicality over here, mentalism over here. We have interdimensional interactions, meaning I'm a human. Somebody else might be, I don't know, a Palladian. I told you I don't know much or nothing about what we would deem alien life forces. A Palladian, but I'm willing to bet that there are other beings out here. Why am I getting attacked by gnats all of a sudden? They coming out everywhere. I got gnats flying everywhere. Just boom, out of the. Stay calm. I already know. Y'all just don't know what I've been through. Okay. There are entities that exist consciously, but do not have physical vessels. I've explained that. I've heard from my mother, as well as people here on YouTube, and other people I've occasionally encountered in my life, that there are species that come to this earth that are able to occupy a physical vessel. I told you, I think I've met a few, including I was in a relationship with one for a mighty long time. And I told you what I saw and mother and experienced. Okay. Then I also heard about other species such as Palladians, reptilians, and what else is out here? Greys, and all these different species. All of this is taking place. What's wrong with y'all? That y'all not comprehending that humans aren't the only beings that exist. It is humans, not no grays, not no reptilians, not no Palladians or whatever else is out here, nor any of those beings that are conscious or mental. They don't have a physical body. They don't need what's in physicality. The only thing or beings that need and depend on every single layer of physicality are humans. We're the only ones that need this sophisticatedly created, self-contained ecosystem to exist in the form in which we exist currently. Period. We need water. We need food. We need that water and food not to be contaminated. It has to be very particular or specific types of food to keep us going and not to kill us. These are things that we know, but we take for granted. We are keeping it so superficial to the point we're dumb. Advance your thoughts. Advance your MNF thoughts. So the powers want to take over our realm that we depend on. And they have been. They have stole every crop there is across the border. I've talked about it on my channel, just from my perspective and from my life experiences, about how they destroy all the reoccurring natural plant life, the reoccurring natural plant life that was right outside the door when I was growing up. Every tree, every grapevine, every pear tree, apple tree, you name it, they destroyed it all. There are places, very specific places, that still have these reoccurring, this reoccurring plant life, especially down south. But that was vast. It wasn't like it is now. Again, very specific, governed, regulated. You know, it's all been removed. It's all been destroyed. Since all of this stuff, the VIA, the vax, and the variances happened, we've heard farmers testify that they've received notifications to destroy the harvest that they currently have. Make that make sense. If they destroy those harvests as we move forward, who will suffer? Human beings. We need that. Water. We need water to bathe in, to sanitize, to drink. We need it clean and pure. So it's not in our best interest when there's oil spills and different things like that. It is not in our best interest when they burn down what they call the label, the lungs of the world, the Amazon forest. Burn it down to make way for one of their major projects, or to cipher and redirect the waters of the Amazonian River for one of their major projects. It's not in the best interest of humanity. Understand, we're dealing with different species. Advance your mind. Advance your thoughts. What is it called when you're so stuck in your way of thinking? I can't think of it right now. Just, what's the word? When you're just stuck in one way of thinking. You can't wake up. You can't expand your mind, your thoughts. You can't even take it in consideration. I can't think of the term. I don't know how long my hotspot on my phone gonna last, but I'm gonna see. Because they took my internet. My name don't even show up in an internet thing no more. Okay. All right. The powers. The billionaires and trillionaires in the physical realm, as well as those with power from the ethereal realm, want this world and all the contents of it, the whole inventory of the earth, Everything that enables humanity to exist. They want it all. All those things are called commodities. That inventory list of commodities goes on and on and on. I talk about pork bellies and orange juice. Why? Because they're synonymous with the market. But it goes on from every tree that exists on this earth. Every tree. Every type of tree. Do you know how many trees there are? Different types of trees. Hmm? Hmm? I doubt it. But as an example, there are pine trees. When it comes to Christmas trees, there pine trees and Douglas ferns and some of the other ones. Just name Christmas trees. Then we got different trees that produce. We got the pear trees, another tree that produce a walnut, and then another one that do a pecan here or whatever it is. Then we got different trees with different blossoms. It goes on and on and on, just in trees. Then we got shrubs. There's so many varieties of shrubs. I don't know, maybe hundreds or thousands worldwide. All of those are commodities. We got aquatic life of all times, of all kinds. You know, when I'm going in detail here, I want to go on and on and on and on and on about physicality and the powers dominating it. And humanity, the people that exist in humanity during any time frame after this, not having access to any of it. The market has been cornered by the powers. Commodities. See, let's talk about social engineering once again. We have been socially engineered over generations to not understand what commodities truly are, nor what real wealth is. I'll explain. Back to the real natural commodities. Everything, the whole content of this self-contained ecosystem, those are commodities. Those are the things that help humans sustain their life and or advance in technology to help facilitate life and help us what? Ward off death. Food, water, shelter, anything we need come from that. It cleanses itself. It refuels itself. It does everything. And we don't know what's important. That's what they want. That's what they take it. Now they moving to completely take your soul. Metaverse. Metaverse. How, let me see. Again, social engineering, moving to lead humanity not to be able to distinguish what a commodity is. So we were introduced to a new form of commodities. I gotta find a new name for it, a new term for it. Because they are virtual commodities, or virtual commodities, I guess is a term I can use right now. So let me talk about virtual commodities. What's really important to invest in? Well, we can invest in stocks of McDonald's or Uber or what was that stuff on my phone? It was all, let me go to my phone. Let me go to my phone. Because when it came to that, what is it is? I'm going to put that there. That Cash App. That Cash App always offers, let's see. What's that there? That's a Bitcoin. We'll talk about Bitcoin in a minute. Oh, let's see. Apple. Here is an investing for everybody. It has Apple, Disney, McDonald's, Visa. What is this? I know this. What's this phone? AT&T, Nike, GE. Discover a stock. Coca-Cola, Walmart. Oh, starting over. But that's just an example. Just an example. Just an example of the things that the general populace are offered to invest in. And most recently, it's about investing in cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency. I understand the concept of cryptocurrency. Physicality. Old paradigm. We had coins, metal coins, and that had some value because they may have some copper in it or some silver in it and stuff, so it had real value. Or paper money, supposed to be backed by gold and so they say. Just a way to, facilitate the movement of resources in the world. That's the old paradigm. You can't take no physical coins and paper dollars into the metaverse. See, they fooling people. You're socially engineered to accept. Here's another social engineering. Yep, that's the word for 2022. Social engineering. Identify how you and I have been socially engineered to move forward in this life. You can't take them physical material coins, metal coins, nor them paper dollars into the metaverse. Because metaverse is what? Mental. So it's a plan. The plan is progressing stage by stage and step by step. So 20, 30 years ago, here they come out with cryptocurrency. We just really finding out about it in the last 5, 10 years. But that shit been out. It just hadn't caught on. It wasn't time for it to. So they come up with a new economy. There's an economy for what? The old paradigm. That's the metal coins and the paper. Now it's this new virtual world coming. The kingdom of God is coming. New kingdom. There will be no more crying and dying and things like that. The new kingdom is coming. New paradigm. The metaverse. Meta worlds. So, how do they decide to get an economy in a meta world or relative to the metaverse? Well, they come up with cryptocurrency, a digital value assigned to an avatar to be able to participate in the metaverse. It's all mental. Cryptocurrency is not real. It's imaginary, right? That it is just a value assigned to a person. So we got people jumping on it, talking about I'm getting the cryptocurrency. Yes, you are. I said this in the last video. I'm going to become a millionaire with cryptocurrency. I'm making an investment. Mother sucker. You are getting a currency rate exchange. Currency change rate. It was, so I go over in Canada. It was what? I used to go over in Canada and play bingo. And I take $100 U.S. and go over there and get $180. Bingo all day. Same thing with cryptocurrency. You're going into the virtual world, into a whole nother foreign land, the imaginary world. And you give them $100, they gonna give you $180 in cryptocurrency that only really has to do with the meta world. But people aren't seeing that because some places here like McDonald's or whatever may accept cryptocurrency. I'm using it in the real physical world. No, it's in preparation for the meta world. I talked about in my last video how they have online casinos. Soon and very soon, like online casinos will only accept cryptocurrency to engage with them. They having you transition your physical money that you can hide away from them. You can do what you want. You can go out and hoe or do whatever, buy some stuff they don't need to know about and have it away. Nope, they want to have you transition that money over to the virtual world so you can participate. You can go into, like I talked about, the virtual worlds out here. It's many virtual worlds. It's many imaginary worlds. Let me stop and go back and start talking about AutoCAD, the class I had, in which I sat up there and was typing, entering the codes, didn't know what I was doing, and we erected a cube, and my cube was like this on one side, that. Okay. If anybody a professor, an adult, a guardian, anybody could have told me what I was doing then. I might be successful now, but I didn't understand what I was doing. That was the beginning. Now, mind you, I'm 52. So that's when I was in college, fresh out of high school. They were beginning to build the meta world. They were beginning to build the meta world. So all them years, I done lost count, what is that, 30, 40 years? They have erected enough imaginary spaces for you to come occupy with your mind. That's why 20 years ago, I know cryptocurrency was up. That's why now you know about the meta world because it's erected. All these different little worlds. They just haven't been imagined. Various imaginary islands, worlds, and they're not bridged together yet. The gaps between them haven't closed in yet. See, that's what they're working to do now. Soon and very soon. When you get in there and start participating in this meta world, the gaps between those worlds will begin to close and therefore expand, and they'll be expanding, closing up, closing together, as well as expanding. Because I told you, I've been in some of those virtual worlds, and I kept wondering, I didn't have enough. I didn't have enough foundational information to know what I was experiencing or looking at. I could see the end where the development has stopped. The world was extensive, but not intricate. It was limited, but still intriguing. But by the time we get into the meta world, by the time the next generation participate in the meta world, it's going to be a world that they can't even see the end of the borders, and it break the illusion. You gotta understand, it's not going to break the illusion. For me, when I would see those barriers or the end of the design, that broke the illusion. I turn back to the real world. There's going to be a generation, the upcoming generation, the consciously dead generation, and their offspring that are going to occupy those virtual worlds that don't have the boundaries. The boundaries are so expansive to the point they won't find them. It'd be a rare person that finds the outskirts of those virtual worlds or designs. Still talking about the virtual world and the consciously dead generation and so much more. And investing. You know, we know that cryptocurrency is the currency that's directly related to those virtual worlds or the metaverse. That's the economy over there. We know that some people that live in this real physical world right now, when we really begin to participate in the metaverse, that they're going to be a little more well off than others. Why? Because they had a high currency exchange rate. High. The currency exchange rate fluctuates. Right now, they're getting in where they really getting a considerable exchange rate. But the day is going to come that the exchange rate deteriorates. So let me tell you, in real time, last time I went over to Canada, took $100, they gave me 101. 20 years ago, when I would go over there, 25 years ago, when I would go over there, I got what? I give them a $100 bill, they gave me 180 of theirs. Last time I went over there, it's still been about, I don't know, whenever, 2001, I think it was. It was a 1 or 11. One of them ones. I went over there, gave them $100. They gave me $101.02. It's change rate. Change. So yeah, people that are buying cryptocurrency now. Yeah, it looks really good. They're gonna be ahead of the game in the virtual world. Well, by the time I get over there, it'll probably be dollar for dollar. That's how my life always been. So you're over in the virtual world. What was I about to say? I was really about to go somewhere. I forgot. Aquarius Rant, ride away with me if you will. What was I talking about? I backed up to say that because I need you to understand that about the cryptocurrency. That's deep. Mentalism. Your soul is attached to your mentalism, to the state of mentalism. You don't know how to use. There are mentalists. I think it was Mark. Was it Mark Zuckerberg? No, what Mark Zuckerberg? Who was that? Elon Musk. Elon Musk was a master mentalist. It was Elon Musk. That was a master mentalist. He understands mentalism, the consciousness, the subconscious, the soul, the imagination. He can control it. He can manipulate it, like being a hypnotist or I can't think of the word. Let it go. But you and me, we don't know how to work with the mind or mentalism. So, what am I saying? The powers, those that are the billionaires and trillionaires today and tomorrow, as well as those from the ethereal realm that have a major interest in this realm, are not only going to control physicality, they're also going to control your mind, your soul, your subconscious, all in this meta world. So much to talk about. Hopefully you can sympathize with me to understand why I ramble. And I'm just everywhere when I talk because there's so much. And I ain't even tapped into even a fragment of what needs to be covered. Sad, isn't it? Like I said, I could be on here for 6 to 8 hours a day for at least a week to get the majority of what needs to be understood out. What's something I was going to say about the metaverse and the world and the laws that govern it? Isn't it interesting? Have you ever thought about this? Back to the branch of knowledge of law. That in the physical world, there are laws that are being written up that none of us voted on, that none of us knew about, but have gone through the whole process and been put on the books. The same stands true in the metaverse. Let me kind of go and explain. In the real world, everything that is taking place over in Brazil relative to the burning down of the rainforest, the redirecting of the Amazon River for the purpose of fueling hydroelectricity, creating hydroelectricity, funneling it across whatever body of water is there. Also, the harvesting of all of the sugarcane in order to create the PVC piping to do so. You know, laws was written up for that, right? Did you know about it? Me either. Until I just did the research last year. But all of that has already been taking place. That shit took place in 2019, even before. I would have to bring up the laws, put it right here, and I know that y'all ain't on that level. Most y'all ain't on that level. Ain't nobody. Do you know? Have you ever seen legal documents? Have you ever tried to pay for a legal document? They know that. Books, just for one project. Books of legal notes. In front of what, 12? Roman times 12 or something? What am I talking about? The font. Books for one project. And just sit here. Today's only 3. Like, you see this year, this happened. It's been happening. Which means, now we talk about the real world. This is something the constantly dead generation does not have. We're going to talk about legislation. Legislation? How much legislation? The government, lawmaking, all that kind of stuff. So these people have been sitting up, dealing directly with all of these corporations and things. Nobody, the typical people know nothing about it. What we hear about is, do you want to legalize marijuana? Can you, would it be, or laws against anti-Semitism, whatever it's called, or laws to get guns out the street. These are the things that they put in front of us. This is what I'm saying. I'm all over the place. I know I'm going to forget. People, my real human people, this is what they're putting before you. This is what's causing the feuds between us. The things that they show us, that they introduce us to, that they say, oh, you can vote on. That's all a scheme. It's all social manipulation. Stop, mother sucker, stop. being stupid. Okay? Now we go back over here to physicality, where it's really taking place at. They are moving to dominate the physical world, the whole realm. The powers, the millionaires, the billionaires, the trillionaires, these corporations are seizing and have seized all the contents of this self-contained ecosystem. They have went before legislation, obviously in private chambers, and they have wrote up every law. The laws read something like this. I'm just going to create the way or the message that the law may have. This is a hypothetical case scenario. That X, Y, and Z company, whatever the company name is, will burn down the Amazon forest. And they have to do it by this time period. And it's for the purpose of allowing to make way to be able to funnel or redirect the Amazonian River. And this has to be done by this day. That's what the laws say. They're written up, the laws are written up with the company names in it, the corporation's names in it, and the active participants in that project. These people are sitting up with legislation, I don't know if I'm writing them up. The drugs that are taking place, the drug addiction, especially among the consciously dead generation, and all this stuff going on about Joe Biden and the safety kits or the drug kits with crack pipes are all a part of the plan. I told you all about it. When that man, that professor, Harvard professor, whatever he was, that black man came up saying, I'm a heroin addict and I think we should decriminalize hard drugs. That was in what? 2019, 2020? Okay. I said in my research, there was a lot going on in 2018, 19, and 20. That research led me to read some legal documentations. Now, don't get professional. That would be one way I could organize my thoughts. Is to truly become a professional here on YouTube. But again, I don't think none of us have it in us. None of us have it in us. Why? Because we're overwhelmed and they know it. But this is how deep the real things that have taken place in our reality need us to be. And I've been trying to convey that to whoever views my material. This realm is not for idiots. It's not for morons. It's not for those that are mentally or intellectually capped. It's just not. We have been socially engineered. When I say we, I'm talking about humanity, to be dumb, to be morons, to be dumbed down, to be sheeple. I believe that humans, Homo sapiens, whatever we are, our true nature is that we are highly intelligent. We have been manipulated, y'all. And it's deep. The stuff I'm talking about, even though I'm jumping all over the place, and it may be very incoherent, let you know how intelligent and how actively aware we need to be in order to deal with the situations that we find ourselves faced with. Period. I don't think it's no other way out. We can continue to pretend and to chitter chatter here on YouTube and other social media platforms. The news can continue to report fake news, real news, whatever. But until the intelligence of the masses expand, there is no help for humanity, truthfully. And that's one of the reasons I haven't been reading the tarot cards, because the messages can only be ugly. They can only be ugly, disheartening. depressing. So leave it alone, at least for now. The powers. What was I talking about? The powers. This is the whole thing. It's not real to most of us, the majority of us. We can't stop going to work to take it real. We can't stop chasing love and being in love for it to be real. You know, when you think about the very wealthy people that just, I mean, you maybe most likely have not known somebody that's truly wealthy in your life, but you have an idea of a very wealthy person. You have an idea of a billionaire or trillionaire, and how they live their life and how they move and interact. Think about it. Which one of those billionaires or trillionaires, get up at least 5 days out of a 7-day week and go work 8 to 12 hours for anybody? Not one. Not the idea that you have of them. That's not what they do. Did Queen Elizabeth, as an example, what did she do to acquire the wealth that she has? She owns the land of the earth and that which is on it by extension. She wasn't getting up at least 5 days out of the week, working at least 8 to 12 hours a day to acquire it. That wasn't the case. Have you ever heard of any billionaire or trillionaire being so in love they lost? Where they spend their days and nights crying? Have you ever? In your imagination about them, can you see that? No, I don't think so. Because that's not what they do. Have you ever seen them go to college, like our kids go to college? Their education is a part of their life and upbringing. I don't know how to explain this concept. But when you get up on that real high level, you ain't heard about them going to like no regular college, having to fill, the curriculum and stuff and earn 120 credits to advance. You ain't heard of that. Not even in your wildest imagination. Have you ever heard of them taking in family members and dealing with their bullshit? You ain't never heard of that. Even Henry left the house of the queen because he wanted to be on bullshit. That ain't what they do. Henry left because he know they don't deal with that bullshit. Princess Diana got dead because they don't deal with that bullshit. That's not how they spend their time. They spend their time plotting. Their plots are based on the knowledge that they have about this physical realm, including humans, as well as the human condition that humans are susceptible to or up under. This is how they move. They don't move with metal coins and paper dollars or cryptocurrency. They don't move trying to invest in stocks of McDonald's and Walmart and Disney. No, they deal in natural resources. The whole contents of this that exists within, that exists to create this physical self-contained ecosystem. That's what they deal with. Even your body. Even after you're dead, they still dealing in commodities with all of your organs and everything. And now they perfecting dealing with the commodity of your mind and your soul when it comes to the metaverse. That's what we're dealing with. So much to talk about. So much. So much. Now my stomach, I'm hungry. Okay. took my internet. All of a sudden, Nets came out of nowhere. I ain't had no Nets. Out of here. Okay. Like them Pune. These was born Pune. Okay. So much. What else is so much? I get lost. I did start. I've been constantly trying to write notes. And I just ball them up day after day, week after week. Humans so smart, they stupid. So I was just thinking when I just said that because I thought about that Joe Rogan or whatever his name is. And the image I saw of him with like a little snicker. So smart, you're stupid. You're playing into everything that they need to dominate this whole realm, including us and our soul. Socially engineered to self-destruct on a mass level and an individual level. Police killing folk, you know, folk killing folk, black on black crime, white on white crime, white black crime. We got Asians acting up, we got this acting up, the Jews claiming they like the best. All of this. Are they taking my internet again? They can do what they want to do. They always have. Okay. It's all social engineering. There you go. Okay. Going back to the consciously dead generation, Z generation, millennials, etc., part. Did I say part of Z? Another way that they're consciously dead, as well as, you know, all of us, is that, how do I say this? NFTs. I was in the right place at the right time, but my mind wasn't compatible with my experience. And that's where I talk about starting all over again. Okay, that's cool. That's where I talk about when I went to that class, AutoCAD, and I entered the codes to erect a cube. I didn't know that I was at the ground floor of building NFTs in the virtual world. I didn't know that. Nobody could tell me that back then. It's taken over 30 years for me to figure that out. But I bring that up because the consciously dead generation, who knows how to code? Who knows how to code? You know, in order to create an NFT, let me give you an example of what I believe. I could be wrong. What NFTs are. I like to go on Facebook and play the little games. I got one little game that is called Solitary something, Solitary Stories. It's Solitary, the card game, but it has a storyline that's accompanied that it overlays. In order to advance through the game, you have to win the games of solitary to win a heart, and you spin a star, and you spin the stars to advance in the game, like to replace furniture or fix something or whatever. Well, those items that exist, everything from the cards, I do believe, are NFTs. The avatar in the game is an NFT. Like on one of the scenes, one of the scene, well, the storyline is I'm fixing the house in order to prepare it for a competition, and the house is a wreck. And I mean, everything from I have to replace the sofa. Well, when I win the stars, it gives me option to replace the sofa now. I can't go any further in the game until I replace the sofa. So I don't have a choice. Well, a sofa could cost 2 coins. I mean, 2 stars. Well, it might take me 24 games to win 2 stars. Okay. So I spend the 2 stars. I can spend the 2 stars to buy the default couch. Or I can give them some coins. You also collect coins. I give them $600 to purchase another couch that's more fashionable or trendy. Or I can give them my real time 99 cents to buy this other NFT or couch that's really classy. Well, I'm not giving them my real life. I did give them a couple of dollars for some coins and stuff, but I ain't doing it no more. But I'm not giving them my dollar for the new for the couch. Them coins is too hard to come by in that game. It's another thing you got to buy if you run out of, or you got to wait another 24 hours to get your allotment. And then it take 24 games, so you've been exhausted all them, and you be tempted to spend your money. So I just go with the default, meaning it's free so far. It's free. Good, give me the default, and then replace the couch. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about the couch that I had to replace. It's an NFT. The different styles, I do believe, are all NFTs or collectibles or tradables. Now that's relative to that game I play on Facebook. That virtual world, one of the virtual worlds that I told you I randomly ran up on and I, joined and ran through, they had different buildings and architectures and rivers and lakes and benches and just different things like that, shops. And the shops weren't filled, they were like stores that had just opened up, and there was just a couple of items in the store. I do believe the buildings themselves, the road was an NFT, the building was an NFT, the little trinkets that was inside the little stores were NFTs, and I can engage them because this is the preliminary or the onset of the meta world, the virtual world. But as the virtual world expands, now I can go in and like I can buy that couch with my real dollar. See, that's a tradable. Or how can I explain it? See, it's hard to explain when you don't have um, the knowledge base. We're all missing the knowledge base. So I'm gonna stop, and I'm not gonna talk about the virtual world now and NFTs. I'll come right back to it if I remember. We don't have the knowledge base. We don't have the language. That is how the powers are getting over on us. The powers getting over on us. Going on with legislation in the private room, writing up laws that we know nothing about in detail, which allows them to facilitate and move forward on their goal easily. And if any blockages come in the way, well, then they can just send the military out or the law enforcement to defend them and make way, move the people out the way. The bridge over there in Canada, or I heard there's a bridge over somewhere else where they blocking the truckers and stuff. You know, sure, they had the military move you out the way, and they're able to do so because it's already written in the law. The laws. Now we got to take another look at the laws. I'm jumping all over the place. Yes, y'all, I did jump like 3 or 4 different subjects at once. I continue to do it as I move forward, and they cut me off, and I'm back on, and whatever else. I'm just keep going. You know, the laws. How important are laws? I believe laws are very, very important. I believe they help govern a mass amount of people so that we won't trample over each other. I do believe they're important. However, our system is so corrupt that they will not allow the laws or democracy to work for us. They won't. It's not that it can't won't. It's not that it can't work, that those things cannot work. It is that the system itself, not the system itself, the people that are in these seats of power, they are corrupt. I do not believe that many of these people that sit in these seats of power, again, are human or have the best interest of humanity. or they are also consciously capped. And I say that because anything that damages this physical world will destroy humanity. Period. 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 I mean, hey, if I'm saying something wrong, let me know. But if we don't have water, we die. If we don't have food, we die. You know what I'm saying? If shipping stops, we don't get what we need, we die. If the medical people can't get to work or don't work, we die. So think of it, I mean, think of it basically, you know, basic, typical, common. I mean, it doesn't have to be, advanced thinking is not difficult, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. So, I forgot what I was doing. The powers. Laws, 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 laws. The laws exist, again, to, um, you know, facilitate our interaction, social interactions, basically. And our interactions here in engagement in this physical realm. Now, they're using the laws, they write the laws out that gives them the okay to do what they want to do. The laws say, I have told the appropriate authorities the plan. And we have agreed on a timeline for me to finish each stage. And I am given the authority, granted the authority to do so. So if any other person disagree with me, then I'll call the law enforcement. That goes back into the video I made called Pyramids. I'll call the law enforcement to move you out of my way by coercion, force, whatever, by any means. Okay. There's so much to talk about. I have talked about it, all of these things in part, over the last 7 years, 6. You know, because first it was just tarot. And I say that because I did make a video called Pyramids, and I want to stop. I do want to stop referring back to the old videos, but I can't. I can't. The video Pyramids talked about the social hierarchy and the stratification, and that the lion in front of the pyramids being a representative of the law enforcement agencies that defend that system, the structure, the pyramid, the social hierarchy, and the distribution of natural resources within society. That's what the video I did on pyramids talked about in detail. And I talked about in that video who was involved in beginning to build that system up, the old paradigm that we've grown so accustomed to. Okay. Then I did another video and I referred to the Milgram's experiment. I did another video that talked about Kiss the Headbanger's ass. And what I was talking about between those two, and there were others, was talking about the time period we were coming to, quickly approaching, in which, like, the law enforcement would have to go against the people in order to defend the system. We're seeing it playing out now with the trucking protest. We're seeing it play out. We've seen it play out during January 6th event, in which there was an insurrection that took place, or overrunning of the White House. I'm all over the place. When it came to that January 6th event, those law enforcement people that were stationed at the White House had to go up against the people. So imagine this. Inside the White House was the law enforcement. They go every day to work to defend the White House and the people in the White House to get a check. Then January 6th happens. And guess who was outside? Some of those law enforcement's neighbors, cousins, significant others, siblings, enemies, was all outside the building coming in on. So imagine, just put yourself in one of those people's shoes, one of those law enforcement shoes. And they looking out the door of the White House outside, or they looking out a window from inside the White House outside, and they see their wife over there on the other side with a protest sign or whatever, and they know that they have taken an oath to defend that White House. Now, what do? If they throw down their badge and walk outside, they don't get a check, so they can't sustain their life. They can't feed themselves. They can't send their kids to school. They can't pay their mortgage or their car note or nothing. So now they got to stand there and stand against their wife out there, their neighbor, their enemy. You know what I'm saying? They were, what I'm saying, the law enforcement is now in a, what do they say, in between a rock and a hard place. And I foretold of it. I foretold of it in the video I did called The Knowing. In that I would say 2020 will be the year of the knowing, in which you will see the spirits that dwell within people. It takes a very specific type of person or being or spirit to stand with a corrupt system and not side with your spouse, your father, your sister, your mother, your brother, the person on the other side that's coming to fight for their rights, for freedom of speech, whatever, freedom of assembly, to not have to take a vat. It takes a special type of person. It's the souls within the people that are in law enforcement. Right now, many of them are being tortured. And the astrology talked about it. Back to, what was the other scenario I offered? Oh, the bridge, the truckers' protest. The trucks blocking the bridges that need to be crossed in order to make the deliveries that need to be made. And they called the law enforcement in. Was it in Britain too or something? To remove them, move their trucks, stop them from getting gas, X, Y, and Z, or whatever the case was. It took a special type of person, talking about the law enforcement agents, to go out there to seize their fuel, to move their trucks, to arrest them, to bash them in the head. Because many of those truckers were their what? Spouses, mothers, fathers, neighbors, enemies, fighting for what? The rights of freedom, of speech, of assembly, not to be vaxxed, or whatever the case may be. It's a special spirit that's dwelling within people that are in the field of law enforcement. It existed also back a few years ago. The Indian tribe was fighting to keep their land. But some big corporation, big money, wanted that land because they needed to run some piping through it to funnel some water. But they were on Indian land that was given to them. And you know what happened? They called law enforcement to come what? Remove those Indians so that they could continue on laying the pipeline on land that they didn't even own anymore. Law enforcement. See, back then, that was a small crowd when it came to that Indian thing. Nobody was out there to help them keep their land. And whatever waters were there. Nope. Now, pay attention. Look at what is really taking place. There are some real things happening in our reality. But long as it ain't got to do with us, we ignore it. When them Indians was going through that, I just remember looking up at the TV. It was a handful of them trying to defend their territory from Big Money. And Big Money wasn't stepping to them. Big Money's like, I'm not going to fight you, fist fight you. I'm going to call law enforcement. And law enforcement going to come remove you by any means and do anything to you. Why? Because it's written in the law that we can run this piping through here. And so the law enforcement is going to defend what? The laws. Now, understand what I'm saying. The laws have not been for the people, period. The laws have not been for humanity. The millionaires, the trillionaires, the billionaires, the entities with an interest in this taking over this realm has set up with legislation, rolled out a law to show common Jane and Joes, men, women that are in law enforcement or in law enforcement, that they have the right to do what they want to do. And because they have that right written up by a corrupt system, they go ahead and execute the dirty work of the powers. This is how they are robbing humanity of everything that we need. Hmm? Robbing, totally robbing humanity of everything they need. Everything. Taking it a step further, so many things to talk about. Let's talk about robotic dogs and the android things. Why do you think they're creating those robot dogs, robot patrol dogs? A matter of fact, as soon as I turned on the internet, day before yesterday, I saw, I think it was on MSN's website or whatever comes up as a default, that they're planning to use these kind of robot or android dogs, whatever they are at the border. Why? Well, what they're going to say is that it's so much territory they can't cover. And so the android dog doesn't have to sleep and rest. It can just keep on, stay on the prowl and alert the authorities so that they can go to a specific place. That's what they're going to say. I didn't even read the article. I already knew what it was about. But it's the introduction of controllable law enforcement. Controllable law enforcement. What am I saying? I'm saying this is going to be a day, and it's coming soon. It's going to come, that the law enforcement that work like at the White House, or the law enforcement agents that went out to remove those truckers' fuel and their trucks and stuff from the bridge when they were protesting, or the law enforcement that went and took them Indians off their land so that big money can go ahead and do what they want to do, eventually them people are going to say enough is enough, because it's eating them up. Some of them is eating them up inside to do that, to see their mothers and fathers and sons and daughters and etc. on the other side. And they're having to wrestle them down. They're having to handcuff them. They're having to beat them over their head, or even maybe gun them down, maybe with a rubber bullet. It's eating them up inside. So the day is going to come that they're going to throw their badge down, and they're going to stand with their family, with their friends, with their neighbors, the people from their community, even their enemies. When I say enemy, I'm talking about somebody that they might not jail with because it's different races or they just at odds. And so then who will the powers have to defend them? Who then will the powers have to clear the way for them to continue fulfilling their agenda? That's where the robot dogs and stuff come in at. See, we, when I say we, I'm talking about humanity, have continued to do what I've been doing recently. And that is to ignore what we see because we don't think it's real. We don't think it's real. Just the other day, I was just kind of stuck or traumatized just in a moment when my mind went to the series called Black Mirror. And I was thinking about the different episodes of Black Mirror. I don't know, I must have been on Hulu or with Netflix, wherever it's on. And I just seen the little, thumbnail that said Black Mirror. And I started thinking about each series, each episode. I was like, and Black Mirror is not really an old program at all. It's recent. I say, but everything that Black Mirror showed, including the robot dogs, is coming into being. Even the council culture was depicted in Black Mirror, when they actually shaded out or voided out the main character. No one would hear him. No one would talk to him. No one would engage him. They dealt with social scoring. They doing that. They've been doing that. They was doing that with credit ratings. They've been doing that. So, but we here in China now, they really got that going on. So everything that they planned to do, they told us they were going to do it. But they gave it to us in a series called what? Black Mirror. And that wasn't the only way they did it. Another thing that Black Mirror showed, which is interesting, is they showed a criminal. They started me all over again. I wonder if so what they were doing, I did notice, YouTube, is they would erase the videos, the lies that I was making, restart it. That's what was happening the last few times. They would just erase everything that I've done, restart a new video, and if I said anything, they'll erase it immediately and start a new video. So I don't know if even the last 2 or 3 hours that I've been on here, if they've erased every single thing I've said. They've taken my internet. They messing with this one. They really don't. This is the reality. There are real things that are current in our reality, and a consistent decline in my subscribership, no matter if I make videos or not. So anyway, not gonna worry about that. Let's see. And I know when I get off of here, I won't have nothing but 1 or 2 views, if that. Let's see if I have a whole line of nope. They erased them all. Isn't that something? They erased all of. Now they didn't kept pushing me off of YouTube over and over and over again. I mean, dropping my internet, and I've not had any internet problems. There's no storm. There's no nothing. It's just the contents that I'm talking. And they've erased everything. They look like it's got one, but they erased everything. So much stuff. Anyway, Black Mirror. So anyway, I'm gonna look at my notes because they about got on my nerves. One thing I know is that society is lost due to language. Have you ever been to court and the judge, I talked about this before, the judge and the stenographer and the sheriffs and the lawyers are talking, and it's their little intimate family, and with their snickering and talking about, you have no idea. And then they turn to start your case and they're talking to you. It's almost like they're speaking a foreign language. You're like, doing like a slave. And you have to really zoom in and focus on what they're saying in order to be able to comprehend what they're saying. That is the same thing that's taking place on a broad scale, a mass scale. What I'm talking about is real things that are taking place in our reality. We're not comprehending them. And one of the reasons is due to us not understanding the language nor having the vocabulary to help support us. And so I'll try to explain. When when we hear about cryptocurrency, the whole concept of cryptocurrency, when you think of cryptocurrency, the consciousness of cryptocurrency, you think about investment, you think about, this is an alternative economy, from the economy that we once knew, that we're going to break free from the old paradigm economy. We start a new economy that they can't, regulate. That's what we are thinking, relative to cryptocurrency. Is because we don't understand the language and what it means. We don't understand the words that go with it. We don't understand the purpose of it. You know what I'm saying? These are the things that we're missing, so we're not understanding what cryptocurrency really is and the purpose of it. So when we hear about it or we hear people talking about it, we're missing a lot, just like we would if we were in a court, a natural physical worldly court. for a driver's ticket, or whether it's a felony or driver's ticket, whatever. We miss a lot because we don't know the language. It just isn't flowing out of us. So you got to understand that the powers have set up and created the language long before we were introduced to it. So when they talk about it and they move to, do what they're doing relative to the cryptocurrency, it's a natural flow that they're having when they're conversating or writing or corresponding or whatever. We are taking it at surface value. And the surface value I'm talking about is to think that the old economy that we've been up under for thousands of years is going to give away in this physical realm to cryptocurrency, and that we'll be free from, I guess capitalism or whatever. I'm probably using the wrong terms, but free from the old system being able to regulate us and taxation and things. Cryptocurrency does not go with the old economy. Cryptocurrency is the new economy for the virtual world. The way you get over into that new economy is to take your paper money right now, give it to those people, the powers, and they're going to give you a digital value so you can participate in the virtual world. But they got your paper money over here. Paper money wasn't really much of anything. However, you did have a little freedom over there. Talking about currency and resources. I hear people, as this time has been approaching over the last years, they say invest in gold and silver. Stock up gold and silver. What you gonna do with gold and silver when you need a pound or two of oats? You gonna give a person a whole gold coin for a bag of oats? That's what you're gonna do? A whole gold coin, or a whole silver coin, or a whole gold bar. Make it make sense. If you go off the grid, you will have to barter and trade. And barter and trade means you're going to be dealing with what? Natural resources, just like the wealthy. You're just going to be dealing with it on a smaller quantity. Rather than a barrel of oats, you're going to be trading a quarter oats. But the gold and the silver, y'all don't know what real wealth is. Y'all don't know what real value is. You don't know the purpose of anything. That's what I'm seeing. It's called, and I've covered this too, applied knowledge. Knowledge about what in this case? Knowledge about gold. Are you knowledgeable about gold? What can you do with gold? What type of technological advancements can you make or sustain with the use of gold? Can it be you can use gold if it is processed in one particular way as gold sheen or gold leaf? This is applied knowledge. And you apply it by overlaying it, or I don't know, on a frame. That's applied knowledge. That's the value of gold. Or if you process gold in another way, you can make a circuit, electrical circuit. For what? A circuit board. For what? A device. Which device would function optimally if it had gold on its motherboard? To know that and to do it, applied knowledge, shows you know the value of gold. Gold. What can you do with it? What else can you do with gold? We got circuits. Oh, they say that gold can be used as a medicine. So, if you process gold in a very specific way and break it down to the nanoparticle, I don't know terms, but just ride this way with me, then you can create an elixir that allows you to ingest it physically, and it creates a bonding that allows your physical, what do you call it, electrical system or nervous system to heal or to be mended. That's applied knowledge if you know how to do that and execute it. So I go back to those that are hoarding gold, bars of gold, coins of silver, etc., etc. What are you doing it for? What are you going to trade it for? What are you going to trade it for? You're going to give me a whole bar, or I'm just saying coin of gold for what? A bushel of wheat? Are you? You know what I'm saying? What am I saying? Again, I'm pointing out the social engineering that takes place. That's an example. That which is propagated in society through media. Buy gold. Get all the gold you can. Yada, yada, yada. If you riding the wave with me, like against, I'm gonna give you an example. Let me give you an example. Remember, if you follow me, you may recall that I talked about the gold buyback some maybe 8 or 9 years ago. We in 2022, was that 2013? Maybe. I don't know the time period. So it was a gold buyback. And you can go to the people that buy gold, and they would put it on the scale, your rings, your earrings, your necklaces, and they would test it to see what carat of gold it is, to make sure what carat of gold it is and how much they could extract, because it'd be mixtures or alloys mixed with it, so that they can say, okay, well, you got, I don't know how it went, you got 12 grams of gold, and for every gram we gonna give you, I'm gonna say, $500. So we're gonna give you $5,000 for this quantity of gold you're giving us. Quantity and quality of gold that you're giving us. And they intention to melt it down, extract the gold, and make the gold bars. Okay? So I'm trying to get down to gold on the smallest amount of quantity is valuable. So even if you got a little dime size piece of gold, the value of that dime sized piece of gold, I don't know how much it would be. But let's say, hypothetically, you're thinking $200-$300 for maybe 24 karat gold piece, 18 karat gold piece, size of a dime, solid. So you want a bag of oats from me. You gonna give me that dime sized piece of gold for a bag of oats. Make that make sense. That don't even make sense. Now do it. This is what I'm saying is being propagated. It is socially manipulating our minds and our ability to think and to process. Should you prepare? Should we prepare for difficult times? Definitely. Definitely. But how do you do so? Well, the answer is bigger than any of us have accepted. And it's that we have to go intercept the powers. Why do we have to intercept the powers? It's because they then hoarded all of the food reserves that were naturally reoccurring on this planet. They destroyed everything. You don't want to believe that, do you? Some age brackets cannot comprehend what I'm saying when I say the powers destroyed the natural reoccurring foods on this planet, because they ain't seen it. I seen it. And there's a lot of y'all on here that's in my age bracket, plus or minus a little bit. You saw it. And now it's not here no more. It's not here no more. How can you allow this world to make you forget what you've experienced? You saw it. You knew that there were grapevines out there. You knew there were peach trees or lemon trees. You saw it. You saw every season. Nobody had to get out there and reharvest it. It was naturally reoccurring with annuals. You saw it. Now the younger generation, the constantly dead generation, they ain't seen it. They may hear about it if they hear me or somebody like myself. But if they don't hear me or somebody like myself say it, they don't even know it exists no more. They don't even know it exists. They don't know that the powers stole everything, that they hoarded everything, and that they destroyed anything that they couldn't take. And why is that important? It's because if we're really going to prepare for some hard times, we don't need gold or silver unless we know how to use it in a practical application. Gold, silver fillings in the teeth or something. No practical applications. We need the natural resources that sustain our lives, such as pork bellies, corn, oak, wheat, what name it. The whole contents of what we can eat, we can consume in this world. That's what we need. That's what we need so we can exchange it to keep it moving. That's how, you know, that's crazy. That we don't know. What I'm saying is we can't see the real things in our reality. That's what we need. We don't need silver and gold unless you know what to do with it. Dark ages. Humanity is headed for either the golden years or the dark ages. Understand this, humanity. If we go where the powers want us to go, people like Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and things, we go there. We are entering into somewhat of a golden age. Just like the Bible said. The coming of a new kingdom, a new heaven here on earth. No more crying, no more death. Well, hell, you in the metaverse. Just your consciousness. But it's some things they ain't told you about that. Just that consciousness. That's a whole nother thing. That is the golden age. No, again, no more death. No more crying. No more hunger. You're transhuman. Golden age. Labeled as anyway. Or humanity, if we fight, if we stand up for what we really believe in and what we claim we want, then we are going into a dark age. But it's not a dark age as far as like the death of the plague. We've advanced too far for that. It's a dark age as far as our ability to advance the technology will most likely come to a crawl. And the reason why our ability to advance the technology will come to a crawl, because there's not a lot of intellectual people that understand the contents of this physical realm and how to manipulate it to help facilitate life and to ward us off from death and make life easier. That's why. It's because people don't know what to do with silver. They don't know what to do with gold or radium or pearls other than wear it around their neck. Pearls, I have learned over the course of my life, are antibiotic. So that suggests then, if you know how to process a real live pearl out of an oyster, it is a natural antibiotic. Even wheat, if it's in appropriate conditions, produces a fungi of some type that is also an antibiotic, was it antibiotic or something? But that's applied knowledge. That's what has been lost. So because that kind of awareness or extent of knowledge has been lost, and because there is a consciously dead generation that does not believe in education, does not want to be educated, then we will have a dark age. And that dark age has us where we are just kind of stifled, stuck to live life out, only able to use what we know thus far, that we know how to successfully apply. You know, if you don't know how to build a TV, won't be no more TVs built, is what I'm saying. If you don't know how to build a radio, there won't be no more radios built. But I think we have learned some things. I've learned how to lay some circuits in my life. Haven't done it in a long while. Might need a refresher or two. They're going to destroy books too. They can manipulate technology online, information online. Them books, they can't change. So what they gonna do, they already in outdated books, they gonna destroy them books. That fire in Alexandria ain't gonna have nothing on what they gonna start doing here in this real physical world. But that's later on. So, dark ages. We need to make our choice. And when I say dark ages, don't let it scare you. Maybe we just don't need to go any further. Maybe we just don't need any more factories. Maybe we need to localize. Early on, and I'm probably going to end after this, localize. Everything is global now. I talked about the laws being written. This stuff global. You know, in order to help the powers facilitate their agenda. Okay, localize. We are so far removed from that which is right next to us. Yeah, we're waiting. And it doesn't matter what region of the world we're in. Any one of us is in. We are waiting for a ship to come in or a truck to come in. Everything has been outsourced away from us. How is that possible? What you want, I already got. And what you got, I want. Why don't I? You know what I'm saying? Why are we waiting? We've been socially engineered. Look at the tactics. Localize. Regionalize. The products that we need. Anyway, what you need in your close, within your proximity, you need within your proximity, should be developed within your proximity. Why is it if I need, I don't know, a gold brooch, I'm just making up some stuff, gold brooch with inlaid with diamonds and pearls, I got to order it from India and it be shipped from India and flow. Why is there no one in my immediate proximity that knows how to, you know, smelt gold and mold it, inlay it with some pearls and diamonds? Why in my area are there no, diamonds? And there are diamonds. I'm in Michigan. There are diamonds. We're not, the land mass of Michigan is not rich with diamonds like it is in Africa, but we had our own little supply here. At least once we did. However, we know the powers excavated everything. They hoarding everything. You know, dark ages are coming. The dark ages are coming because they've already hoarded everything. We have to go get it back. Who do we attack? I'm gonna get off here. I've been on here and YouTube to work my nerves. Who do we attack? That's another thing. We are busy attacking each other. The law enforcement is busy attacking their aunts, uncles, cousins, siblings, enemies, locals, enemies. That's what they're attacking. People are attacking their family members within the nuclear family. That's what we're attacking. We're attacking people that ain't got no power or no access to the real resolutions to our problems. We have to understand who to go for. You know, we need to go directly and talk to people like who? The billionaires. And once we got the billionaires, like right here, who's the next level coming down? Let's not start from the bottom no more. Go all the way to the top. Let's want to expose what this realm is really about and what's really going on. Stop fucking messing with your neighbor. Stop abusing the people around you. Go straight to where the money at. Go straight to where the money at. If they're on an island, go straight to them. Go straight to them. Let's look at their committee. that's right there, elbowing with them. Every time they went before legislation, I can't get it out. Every time they did that. Every time they executed another um, step to fulfilling one of their corrupt agendas, all the way from the top. Don't start from the bottom if you get what I'm saying. Is it that hard see, first of all, law enforcement. Right now, it's now before they get these robot dogs up. And the robot dogs is just something that they showed us. The only thing they got to do is like a track. I can just imagine a track of like guns, artillery that's laying in the ground and just sit up and with sensors on it. This is just that easy, I'm sure. There are people that are technically that advanced to create something that's simple, you know. But we want to make it fancy and say, "Ooh, we got a running dog," so they can make it look like they can't cover a lot of space at one time with minimal staff. No, okay. So anyway, is it that hard for us to comprehend what a problem is? Is what I'm saying. I'm not being funny. Like, the real problem is, gotta look at the real problem. The real problem is that what we really need to live in this physical world and give us the opportunity to indulge in the physicality as well as in mentalism and be the steward of our own ship as we do so, is that we need the resources that sustain our life. If we dead, we can't do none of that. So we have to restore the natural resources back to the people. But we can't do none of that. Long as it's that Joe Rogan foolishness and that foolishness associated with this Jewish community anti-Semitism campaign. We can't do that. We can't do it long as my brother or my mother or my cousin standing between me and them. We can't do that. We can't do it long as we getting high and drunk and drinking and partying. We can't do that. We can't do what we need to do long as we chasing after somebody trying to make them love us. We can't do that. All we can do, if we want a chance, and I really believe this is the only chance we have, and I know I've been all over the place doing these multiple live streams, where it only seems like it's going to be one left. And that's to go to the top. Everybody from, we go on Forbes. That's what we should do. Go to Forbes, look up all the billionaires. If the billionaires don't want to catch that, smoke, then they'll send you up to the next level if it's enough next level, because they ain't gonna want it. Get that whole top level, and we will find out who's really in control. We will find out if there's extraterrestrials. We will find that out. Period. You put threaten their life, and ain't no law enforcement there to defend them, to keep us off their ass. Stay home. You're a law enforcement person. Stay home. Y'all. But they know we've been socially engineered. What do I mean? We've been socially engineered to get out here, especially the constantly dead generation, to kill each other, to do stupid stuff every day, all day long. Nobody have control over themselves. Do y'all see the bondage that they got us wrapped in? The bondage that they got us wrapped in. All of these hurdles we have to overcome. But you know how impossible that is? It's so impossible because we can't talk to everybody at the same time. We can't minister to everybody at the same time. When I say minister, it's just like what I kind of did here. Yes, it was a mess. But it's where you help people be able to see the reality that really exists, with the realness that exists in our reality. People can't see. The youth don't know that they've been manipulated into being murderers and drug addicts. They don't know that. They don't know that it ain't cool. They don't know that. They don't know that they need professional help to get healing. They don't know that. They were born on the top of a steep hill and was pushed down and have been constantly rolling out of control ever since. And they don't know it. That's their natural norm. That's their norm. That's all they know. That's their point of reference. They don't know. They don't know. Like this weed thing, they don't know it wasn't like this. Oh, so much to talk about. The Boffins, the consciously dead generation. I was thinking about, oh, and CERN. I was thinking about CERN and the Baphomet appearing here in Detroit and other places. And I was thinking about the portal that had been opened up, and it has allowed malevolent entities to enter into our realm. I do believe these are the same entities that are, whatever word I'm looking, um, will be the first ones to occupy the metaverse. I do believe that. I I was gonna say I forgot, but and I don't want to think about it. I have to think about. It's been so much stuff, but what I realized is I've seen a change in reality and in life. You gotta understand, all of these are different components. That's another thing. I was talking about how we don't understand language and the vocabulary and stuff, so we're not comprehending. We also are not comprehending what's taking place because we don't understand its physicality and mentalism, or the mental, and that there are various entities that exist simultaneously. So we're not comprehending what's happening. Another thing is that yeah, what else gonna talk about? I need to talk about this one. What was I just talking about? I forgot. I'll be trying to go back and pull things together because I know I'm all over the place and I end up forgetting. Um, consciously dead generation. Consciously dead generation. Rolling down the hill. Don't know. Point of reference. And that's another reason that people are not understanding, especially a certain generation, is because of their point of reference and what they've been exposed to. And as an example, the example I use is like a lot of youth don't even know that there is natural reoccurring vegetation that's abundant on this earth and that it was destroyed. They don't know. So they are not comprehending or perceiving this reality um, from a, a good perspective, a rational perspective, a healthy perspective. They're not. They can't, don't even know the fight. Like, they don't even know the fight because they don't know what's missing. That's what I mean, point of reference. They don't even know what's missing. So that's another reason that, I was saying that we've been all socially engineered, so many layers, so many layers, so many layers. The food, enemies, all these things. And I just don't understand how people cannot see all of these various tactics that's been used. And I even talked about when astrology talked about all of the various social engineering tactics were activated simultaneously. And that was in 2021, I think about mid 2021, when the astrology talked about that. And so I see, yeah, I see I mean, I just really, I have a poor um concept, or not concept, but I have a poor, image of humanity. I thought we were better than this. But anytime people cannot see that there's something wrong, it concerns me. It's like something's really wrong. It's not impossible to see that there's something wrong. That when I see something wrong, I'm going back talking about racism and the hatred and the whole anti-Semitism movement, the whole thing, the belittling of another race, primarily the black race. Is no way you can't see that. There's no way you can't see that. The Baphomets, the spirits that were summoned here, help you not see. Those spirits, between that CERN stuff that people talk about, and that bothness, that whole state of consciousness that was invited to Detroit, housed and hosted here in Detroit. I could walk from my house to where it was hosted. And then when I did my research on it, I found out it wasn't just Detroit. It wasn't just Detroit, it was other places. I realized, and the difference in reality and in the life is different. That those malevolent entities, that there was a veil between us and them, had been broken. They have been invited here into our space, into our reality. And it is leading to the change in people's level of awareness and consciousness. The consciousness of humans have been distorted. And it's being held there like held captive in this distorted perception. Because other than that, there's no other way that people cannot possibly see again all the ways that we have been negatively influenced or socially engineered to be dysfunctional to the point of your own mother-sucking demise. There's no way. There is no way. It's no way that people can wake up every day and know that they're defending a system, talking about law enforcement, and be okay with it unless their soul was overtaken. That's what I say. The law enforcement, there are those that are being tortured right now, emotionally tortured. And then there are other law enforcement that are 100% possessed. 100% possessed. There's no way that people can wake up every day and think they're reasonably intelligent. There's no way. When they have no idea, no concept of, again, what real wealth is and what you need and what you do not need. I'm talking about splitting hairs. Splitting hairs. Consciously dead generation, splitting hairs, jumping to subject matters. Drugs. Joe Biden, kids. Drugs. Don't lose the laws. Back to the laws. I reported last year, I do believe it was in February, that some of my research led me back to law. And this is more criminal law. Remember, it's different sub branches of law. And it's criminal law I'm talking about now, I do believe. And the law that I was reading were pertaining to drugs. And there were changes and amendments in the law in 2019. No, 2020. We're in 22. 2020 and 21 in relationship to the drug laws in different states. But I read those that were written, changed, or amended in Michigan. And what I saw was that the drug laws were changed in a way that it started looking at the chemical compounds that create any drug. And not just the chemical compounds. We're going on the new term that's been trending relative to the RNA thing is nano. I'm going to use nano because we're talking about real finite, microscopic, or whatever levels of substance. So I'm talking about, I'm going to give an example of what I mean. Like you can have, how can I do this? You can have 3 plants and they can all be daisies, all 3 daisies, but they can be different species of daisy. And what makes them a different species is that they have a different, like, genetic code that leads them to have slightly different appearances or continents. And so the new laws that are being written up relative to drugs goes down to that microbolic level. I might not be using the right terminology. So that's to say, if I was to make a drug that the base was daisy, if I use the wrong daisy, then I'm going to get a whole bunch of time. Because it's one out of three different daisies. It's only one daisy that won't bring as much time, is looked at as pure because of its continents. But it's two other daisies. If I use any one of those other two daisies, then that's illegal. You get what I'm saying? I'm not a chemist or anything like that. But that's what the laws are saying. So I want to go back in time during the 80s and the crack epidemic. This is also something that Michi X was talking about and referring to. It's happening again. And this is why that professor, I talked about this earlier, remember I was jumping everywhere, that professor from Harvard, that black professor came out, said he's a heroin addict, yeah, he was advocating the decriminalization of drugs, see, I'm going to forget, and then turned around, and then Joe Biden talking about a safety kit for drugs with a pipe in it, and all this kind of stuff, and okay, so now, and mind you, over the last couple of years, we don't know it, because we didn't hear about it, we wasn't invited to vote on it, but now they didn't wrote the laws. But when they write the laws this time, they're not rewriting them like they did the criminal laws back then, when with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris dealing with the 3 strikes you're out. You know what I'm saying? Saying if you have crack cocaine instead of pure powder cocaine, you get more time with the cracked up cocaine. Not that kind of law writing. This is, again, going down to the chemical compounds that actually creates the substances that the substance of any given ingredient that is used or combined to make a drug. So we're breaking it all the way down. You know, I don't know the details about any particular drug. I don't know the scientific name. That was the headache with that, and I left it alone because it was a big headache. You already know I can't barely read and write. So what it was saying in the laws, this is how the laws was written. Now, ride this wave with me if you will. I'm going somewhere and then I'm done. The laws are saying, let's say, I'm just going to use an example. If the drug is heroin, well, the street name is heroin. The drug a person may prefer is heroin, and that's what they may buy. Go back. How is heroin made? Heroin is made with, I don't know, let's say it has 4 ingredients, just an example. It may have poppy and this. I'm going to do it like this because I don't know the name. Heroin is composed, as an example, hypothetical case scenario. Heroin is created of A, B, C, and D. That's what it needs to get to that bag that somebody might buy. Okay, in the inner city. These 4 ingredients. No, we just think it's heroin. We already get it when it's already coagulated or mixed or something, blended. Okay, so, but in order to get that, it took 4 ingredients. So the chemists know these 4 ingredients put together to create heroin, as an example. I don't know how it goes. So, talking about the laws that were written just recently, especially in the city of Detroit, relative to the state of Michigan. We don't know nothing about it. Comparing it to what? The 80s, when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and I thought it was Hillary, no, was that, what's his name, Reagan? Wife? I think. But anyway, 3 strikes you out to go to prison with 3 felonies. Okay. And mind you, I was able to predict who was going to become president and vice president because of that information. Who was what? Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, because that's what they was about. We hear again, all over the place. 4 ingredients, hypothetical case scenario to create a pack of heroin that's sold in the hood. Heroin, we don't know of it. Heroin is made of 4 units, as an example: A, B, C, and D. Now, A, I'ma just say it's poppy because I don't know. And poppy, let's see, the poppy plant, I don't know, that grows in Asia is different than the poppy plant that is grown in Afghanistan. Two different strains. And that truth can exist relative to all 4 ingredients. The poppy can either be from Afghanistan or from, where else I'll say, China, Asia, or from, even they had poppies in the movie Wizard of Oz, in Oz. You know, maybe in Oz, Asia, or Afghanistan, different strains of poppy. The same truth can stand, the same truth can exist relative to this ingredient, as well as this ingredient, as well as this ingredient. This is the level that they're writing the laws on. I hope I can make this sense. Make sense. So the laws have determined like what strands are acceptable. You know, it could be the only strand that's acceptable when hearing is a concern. Only the strand from Oz is acceptable. That composition, you know, that, when I say composition, I'm talking about whatever God did to create that strand of heroin. I mean, that strand of poppy, you know, and then whatever the next ingredient is. Who knows how many variants or variations there are of ingredient B? But only one of those strands is acceptable. And then it has to be all the right strands blended together to make an acceptable heroin. That say an event occurs, you know, once it hits the street, and say an arrest happens or something, a confiscation happens. That suggests then that when drugs are a part, you know, the concern, the crime, supposed to be the crime, they would have to send the drug to a chemist so that they could check to see the composition or the compounds within any given drug. And if that drug does not align with that which is acceptable by law, then the years that a person get is extended. And a lot of what I read was life sentences. So that suggests that they're saying, remember, a lot of people in the hood, this is a known fact, aren't chemists. So they're not creating the cocaine, the crack, the poppy, the what's this other stuff, meth, or fentanyl. We're not creating any of that. There are chemists, people that are experts in that field of chemistry, and they know how to blend. However, every single chemist gets their ingredients from different places. It just depends on what region they in and who they have, you know, access with, contact with. So some chemists might get they poppy from Afghanistan. Some might get it from Asia. Some might get it from Oz. And even with the other ingredients, some might get it from Kansas. Some might get it from, I don't know, the Netherlands, with the next ingredient that's needed to create the heroin, as an example. So it's, you know, what's the chances of any given chemist combining the right strands of the various ingredients needed to make the heroin, as an example? The chances are very slim to none. Only those that know the chemistry would make a brand of heroin that is okayed by the law. Okay. Example of what a person could do if they were proficient in chemistry is they could go retrieve these laws that I'm talking about that says it can have this microgram of this, a microgram of that, and a microgram of this. Some of those things only bought a year or two in prison, long as you followed the ingredients the way they said. But any other ones was 15 to life. I'm telling you what I read it last year. I say I read it. The headache was they used all scientific terminology. I don't know the scientific name for poppy seed. You know, the poppy that's used to make cocaine or whatever. I don't know. There is a scientific name, you know, and they usually have about 100 letters in it. I don't know that. And all of them were broken down to their scientific name. Every last compound for every single drug. And it had the quantity or the volume, I don't know, quantity of and it also talked about if it could be if it's in gas form, then it became illegal, or it had to be in a powder form. You know, it let you know what form it had to be in. If it was in powder, liquid, powder, liquid, and gas, or something different things like that. I mean, these laws went into fine, intricate, minute details, and then ending with a person will be subjected to 1 or 2 years of imprisonment. Wow. And the combination, if you or 6, let's say, they'll be subjected to 4 months in prison. But if all of them are combined, all the perfect ingredients on that, you know, level, then they might be having to be in prison for 1 to 5. But if you got any other combinations other than on this ledger, then you get 15 to life. So understand what is taking place there in the laws. It's saying the only people that's going to know the appropriate way to mix heroin are those that are truly ordained chemists. When I say ordained, I'm saying officiated by the government, or because they work for a major scientific research university. Only very specialized people would know how to look at what I was reading, go get those resources, mix them up to make the perfect batch of heroin. And that perfect batch of heroin is going to go where the government wanted to go. Let me try another drug. What's morphine? The ordained chemist hired by the government or whatever department hires them and officiates them and gives them the authority to make morphine. Only those ordained will know how to make the real live morphine. And that morphine there is legal. And they know it's legal by its composition. And that morphine, I chose that, can be sent to the hospitals and things, places that it's okay to administer drugs. You know what I'm saying? Or it can be held by a government or a government assigned department, apartment assigned by the government to hold it. That's legal. It say it in the laws. They are not susceptible law. Basically, they are the authorities. You know, they are granted the authority to govern over, to do. Next level is, okay, well, if you know a little bit about chemistry and you're able to mix them up, but you know how to look at this and mix it up to fine intricate details, you know what I'm saying? Then you get maybe a couple of months in jail. But if you go to the next level and you mix up one of those ingredients wrong, just one of them ingredients wrong, you get life in prison. And when I say one of those ingredients wrong, remember, I'm talking about down to the strand, to the microbiologic composition of any agent or mineral that is mixed. That, you get the strain wrong, you're doing life. Now, remember back in the 80s, they were talking about locking you up just because it was either powder or powder cooked up with baking soda base. You know, with the baking soda base, free, so they could freebase. That's what they was basing it on. So that was kind of broad. That was really broad. I'm talking about this is on a whole nother level. A whole nother level. So I mean, and it also lines up with this fentanyl thing, because the fentanyl, it seems like people cutting all they dope with this fentanyl. So this plays into that law. See, it's a lot of things that go on our real reality, the realness in our reality. A lot of things that go on that common people have no idea about. We don't even know. So how is it that the government that ain't in our hoods, our neighborhoods and stuff, how do they know? How do they know when half of us don't even know? I'm just saying. Anyway, I've been running my mouth for about 2-3 hours, even though my video don't reflect because they kept cutting me off. But I thank you for lending me your ear and allowing me to perform the Aquarius Rant. If you're watching this particular video, there are multiple videos because they kept cutting me off and on, off and on. They even took my internet. Mm -hmm. So I'm going to let it go now because it is 4:30 in the morning and I'm getting a little tired. So until next time, y'all. Bye.